92nd minute. Lumen Field, Seattle. The score is locked at 1-1. A challenge inside the penalty area. An Egyptian player goes down. And then, nothing. No whistle. No VAR check. Nothing. Egypt head coach Hossam Hassan steps out of his technical area, turns toward the stadium's big screen where the replay is running on loop for every single person in the stadium to see, and points at it, furious, demanding that the fourth official explain what the referee just missed. According to the beIN Sports Live blog, Hassan completely lost his temper in that moment. And honestly, once you understand everything that was layered underneath that reaction, it becomes very hard to argue he was wrong to lose it. Because this wasn't just about a penalty decision. This was about a shirt controversy that started 3 days before the match. It was about fans who couldn't make it to the stadium. It was about a nation that has won more Africa Cup of Nations titles than any other country in history, carrying that weight into a World Cup where they felt, once again, like the decisions were stacking against them. Let's go back to the beginning and build this story properly, because it deserves to be told in full. On June 13, 3 days before Egypt faced Belgium at Lumen Field, FIFA issued an order. Egypt had to remove 7 stars from their shirts before the match. Those 7 stars aren't decorative. Each one represents an Africa Cup of Nations title: 1957, 1959, 1986, 1998, 2006, 2008, and 2010. 7 continental championships. Egypt is the most decorated nation in African football history, and those stars are a direct representation of that record. The Egyptian Football Association responded with a statement that was measured but telling. They described it as an issue involving Egypt's remarkable football heritage. They didn't escalate publicly beyond that. But the mood that created inside the Egyptian camp, before a single ball was kicked in Seattle, was one of institutional friction. The players and staff walked into Lumen Field already carrying that context. Now imagine carrying all of that into a World Cup group stage match. Against Belgium. With Mohamed Salah on the pitch in what could be his last World Cup at 33 years old. With Egyptian fans watching from home because many couldn't make the trip to the United States. That's the atmosphere this match existed within. This was the first ever World Cup meeting between Belgium and Egypt. And the star power on display reflected that significance. On one side, Mohamed Salah, one of the greatest footballers of his generation, playing in what may be his final World Cup campaign. On the other, Kevin De Bruyne and Romelu Lukaku, Belgium's 2 most dangerous weapons, both with the quality to decide matches at the highest level. Belgium took control early. Lukaku, the man who has scored more goals for Belgium than any player in their history, delivered the opener with the kind of clinical finishing that has defined his career. His 87th minute header nearly added a second, coming close enough to confirm that Belgium were the dominant side in terms of control and attacking threat through much of the game. But Egypt fought back. Hossam Hassan's defensive setup was compact and disciplined, built on a clear structure: hold the shape, limit the space, and use the transition. Salah operated as a constant threat in the final third. And when the equalizer came, it wasn't a fluke. It was a reflection of Egypt's quality and their ability to find something even against European opposition at a World Cup. The atmosphere at Lumen Field was described as historic for Seattle's football culture. A 1-1 draw, a fair result for what had been a competitive, open match between 2 sides with genuine quality. But then came the 92nd minute. Duper's challenge on the Egyptian player inside the penalty area. The contact was there. The stadium's big screen showed it. Everyone watching the replay inside Lumen Field could see it. And that's exactly what made Hossam Hassan's reaction so significant. He didn't just argue with the referee. He physically pointed at the screen, demanding the fourth official look at what the entire stadium had just watched. The referee's decision: no penalty. No VAR intervention. The match ended 1-1. Now here's where the comparison becomes impossible to ignore. Elsewhere in this tournament, Switzerland were awarded a VAR penalty following a similar type of contact review. Egypt, in the 92nd minute of a match they could have won, received nothing, not even a VAR check on a challenge that was visible on the stadium screen. The key question is a legitimate one: was the contact sufficient to meet the threshold for a foul in the penalty area? That's a fair debate. But the absence of any VAR review, on a challenge shown on the big screen in real time, is what turned a debatable decision into a controversy. If this felt familiar to Egyptian football fans, that's because it was. At the 2018 World Cup in Russia, Egypt lost 3-1 to Uruguay. The Egyptian Football Association filed a formal complaint to FIFA afterward. Their specific claims: a player was pushed before an own goal went in, and a penalty was denied in the 78th minute. The association's president demanded a full investigation into the officiating. Nothing came of it. 2026, the result is better, a draw instead of a defeat, but the feeling is the same. A decision at a critical moment that went against Egypt, in a match that had significant implications for their group stage progress. The pattern of Egypt and World Cup refereeing controversies is now documented across 2 tournaments. And this time, there's more context layered underneath it. Connect the dots from this entire story. Egypt's stars were removed from their shirts 3 days before the match, a direct erasure of their continental record before they'd played a single minute of football. African fans, including supporters from Ivory Coast and Senegal, were unable to travel to the United States for this tournament, meaning the stands in Seattle didn't reflect the support Egypt and other African nations would have had at a more accessible host nation. And then, in the 92nd minute, a refereeing decision went against them at the exact moment the match could have been won. Hossam Hassan wasn't just demanding a penalty when he pointed at that screen. He was demanding to be seen. That's not a statement from any official report or press conference. But it is what the full context of this situation demands you consider. When you strip the shirt of its stars, when the fans can't travel, and when the referee doesn't call what the stadium screen shows, the reaction of a coach in the 92nd minute takes on a different dimension entirely. The question this tournament keeps raising is whether the pattern of decisions, across enough matches, changes how the global audience perceives the officiating at FIFA level. That conversation is happening now, and Egypt's experience in Seattle is at the center of it. After the 1-1 draw, Group G looks like this: Belgium on 1 point, Egypt on 1 point, with Iran and New Zealand still to fully factor in. Everything is still wide open. Egypt's road ahead is navigable. On June 21st, they face Iran at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. Iran have been surrounded by controversy of their own, their fans haven't been able to attend matches either, and their squad has been based in Tijuana throughout the tournament. On paper, Egypt should fancy their chances in that fixture. After that comes New Zealand. Win both of those matches, or take 4 points from them, and Egypt are in a strong position to reach the knockout stage. That would be historic. Egypt have never reached the knockout stage of a World Cup. This is their opportunity to do it for the first time. And then there's Mohamed Salah. He hasn't scored yet in this tournament. At 33 years old, in what may genuinely be his final World Cup, Salah is the kind of player who doesn't stay quiet for long. When he gets his moment in this competition, and statistically, across the quality of his career, that moment will come. It changes Egypt's trajectory completely. A Salah in form at a World Cup is a genuinely different proposition to any side he faces. For Belgium, the road ahead looks clearer on paper. Iran next in Los Angeles is a match they're expected to win. But nothing at this World Cup has gone strictly according to expectation, and Iran's resilience, particularly given the disruption they've endured off the pitch, means Belgium cannot afford complacency. Iran have shown enough in their campaign to cause problems for a Belgium side that, despite their quality, needed a Lukaku moment to take the lead against Egypt. The group is genuinely open. The narrative running through it is one of the most compelling of the entire tournament. This match, Belgium 1-1 Egypt, operates on 3 distinct levels simultaneously. The football, a competitive, high-quality group stage match between 2 sides with genuine stars, decided by a Lukaku goal and an Egyptian equalizer, finishing level after 90 minutes of legitimate contest. The penalty, a challenge in the 92nd minute, shown on the stadium screen, not reviewed by VAR, that could have put Egypt ahead. A decision that head coach Hossam Hassan reacted to in a manner described by live reporters as having completely lost his temper, which, in the context of everything Egypt were carrying into this match, requires proper understanding rather than simple dismissal. The context: 7 stars removed from a shirt. African fans unable to travel. A refereeing complaint filed after 2018 that produced no results. A coach pointing at a stadium screen in the 92nd minute, demanding to be acknowledged. Was it a clear penalty? That's a question worth debating. The contact was there, the VAR review didn't happen, and the comparison with decisions given elsewhere in this tournament adds legitimate weight to the complaint. Does the background, the stars, the fans, the history, change how you read Hosam Hassan's reaction? The answer, once you understand the full picture, is almost certainly yes. Can Egypt reach the knockout stage of a World Cup for the first time in their history? With Salah yet to score, with Iran and New Zealand still to come, and with 1 point already on the board, the opportunity is right in front of them. Group G runs through July. The story of what Egypt's 2026 campaign means, on and off the pitch, is just getting started.